Picture this. You're 38,000 feet in the air. It's flying over the pitch-black Atlantic Ocean. It's 2:17 a.m. The cabin lights are dim. Most passengers are dozing off, crammed into narrow seats, unaware of what's going on up front and inside the cockpit. There's a good chance your pilot is asleep. Yes, asleep. And even more shocking so is the co-pilot. This isn't science fiction. This is a routine part of modern aviation. On long-haul flights, those 8, 10, and even 16-hour journeys across continents and oceans, pilots are not only allowed to nap, they have to. Airlines and aviation authorities around the world have built sleep directly into flight operations. They call it controlled rest or in-seat rest. But what that really means is that for a portion of your flight, there might be only one pilot awake. Or worse, none. Still feeling safe? Let's break this down. The average long-haul flight crew consists of at least 2, sometimes 3, or even 4 pilots, depending on the route and flight time. On flights over 8 hours, international regulations require multiple crew members to rotate duties. That sounds reasonable. You don't want a pilot who's been awake for 14 hours straight trying to land a 500-ton aircraft. But here's the disturbing twist. That rotation often involves leaving the cockpit in the hands of one person, while the others literally go to bed. And I don't mean figuratively. On aircraft like the Boeing 777 and Airbus A350, pilots have secret compartments, actual bunk beds built into the plane's fuselage. These are completely hidden from passengers. You walk by them unknowingly as you board. These bunk rooms are accessed via unmarked doors or tiny staircases, leading to sleeping pods with mattresses, pillows, and blackout curtains. The pilot flying your plane might be curled up in a dark room over your head, fully horizontal, sleeping soundly in his socks, and you'd have no idea. But what about the one pilot left at the controls? Well, this is where it gets even more uncomfortable. Because pilots don't just sleep during their scheduled rest breaks. Sometimes, they fall asleep at the controls without meaning to. A 2013 report by the British Airline Pilots Association revealed that 43% of commercial pilots admitted to unintentionally falling asleep while flying. But the punchline, 33% of those pilots said they woke up to discover the other pilot was also asleep. Let that sink in. No one was flying the plane. Oh, sure. Modern aircraft have autopilot systems that are incredibly advanced. They can climb, cruise, and descend with little input. But autopilot is not artificial intelligence. It doesn't think. It doesn't react. It doesn't make judgment calls. If something unexpected happens, like turbulence, engine trouble, or another plane suddenly appearing on radar, you need a human being alert and at the controls. If both pilots are asleep, even for a minute, there's no one home. And yet, this is shockingly common. Pilot fatigue is considered one of the most dangerous and underreported threats in aviation. According to the FAA and EASA, fatigue contributes to hundreds of incidents each year. It's not always the cause of crashes, but it plays a huge role in poor decision-making, miscommunication, and reaction delays in high-stakes moments. Want proof? In 2008, Airline's flight from Honolulu to Hilo overshot its destination by 26 miles because both pilots had fallen asleep. Air traffic control couldn't reach them for over 20 minutes. They only woke up after the autopilot disconnected and alarms sounded in the cockpit. In 2011, A similar incident occurred when a flight from Washington to Denver went silent. Again, the pilots were asleep, and it took air traffic control several attempts to wake them up. These aren't small commuter planes. These are commercial airliners full of passengers flying blind. But let's go deeper. Pilots operate in a brutal environment when it comes to circadian rhythms. They fly through multiple time zones, cross night and day cycles, and experience irregular work shifts. It's not just tiring, it's disorienting. Now imagine trying to make split-second decisions while battling jet lag. Dehydration and poor quality sleep in a noisy bunk above 200 strangers. Even with scheduled naps, many pilots report extreme exhaustion. Some admit to using caffeine pills or energy drinks just to stay alert on approach. Others are forced to make judgment calls after sleeping only 2 or 3 hours during a 14-hour flight. But passengers never see that side of aviation. They see the confident captain walking through the terminal in a crisp uniform. They hear the reassuring voice during takeoff. What they don't see is the pilot quietly leaving the cockpit at 3 a.m. to go take a nap above the cabin, trusting the plane and your life to a co-pilot who's just as exhausted or asleep. And yet the system allows it. In fact, it depends on it. The Federal Aviation Administration and its European counterparts have guidelines that define exactly how much rest a pilot needs, how many hours they can fly, and what counts as sufficient alertness. But these guidelines don't eliminate fatigue, they just try to manage it. In reality, pilots are under intense pressure to perform, often while operating on dangerously little rest. And if they speak up about being too tired to fly, they risk being pulled from duty, losing pay, or even being grounded by their airline. So the fatigue gets normalized, the naps become routine, and passengers remain blissfully unaware. It's easy to trust the system when nothing goes wrong. When your flight lands on time and the pilot thanks you for flying, you assume everything went smoothly, eh? But maybe you just got lucky. Because behind the curtain, literally and figuratively, your pilots might be running on fumes, sleeping in secret bunk beds, or waking up disoriented minutes before landing a $300 million jet. And if that doesn't scare you, it probably should. So this isn't conspiracy, this isn't speculation. It's the reality of modern air travel. A reality built on tight schedules, cost-cutting, and silent trust in human endurance. Next time you hear the captain's voice, just remember, they might sound calm and confident, because they just woke up from a nap, and now they're about to land a plane, with your life in their hands. Sleep tight.